This is critique 2 of the free speech debate at the University of Toronto. We start out with, no matter what side you're on, or who you believe, or who you support, who you think's right or wrong, you're going to start with, I'm going to show you 2 clips first. Professor Jordan Peterson expressing in many ways the desire to discuss, talk about this issue, find out who's right, who's wrong, maybe correct himself if he's wrong, the desire for a dialogue. And then there's a short clip of Brenda Cossman starts out her speech by saying she really doesn't desire to be here and appreciates people that have boycotted the event, which to me is anathema to a discussion, especially when it comes to free speech. What it boils down to is we're right and you're wrong, and we don't want to hear what you have to say, so we don't want to hear the opposing sides. And it's right in line with the no platforming and trying to stop people from giving their point of view. As Jordan Peterson mentions, that's the makings of the start of a totalitarian system.
And so obviously something's up, and I can tell you that what's up isn't only a discussion about Bill C-16 and about gendered pronouns. You know, sometimes when you're having a debate or a discussion with someone that you love and you're having a little argument about something, like who's going to do the dishes or something like that, or you know how it, especially if you haven't been getting along very well with that person, you know how the discussion starts with something specific and then you start trading all the things that it might be about until you're arguing about, you know, the way that you behaved on your third date, you know, 10 years ago, and the whole underlying unresolved chaos of your relationship emerges through the little portal that was defined by the argument. You know, well, that's what this is about. So what the hell's going on here exactly? And why are we damn near at each other's throats? Look at what happened in the United States a week and a half ago. There's some things to talk about here, and I started to try to talk about them, and I would say that my freedom to do so was rapidly infringed upon. My career was put at risk, and I find this absolutely unacceptable because I am trying to sort this out. And believe me, you know what you call people you can't talk to? Enemies. And if we want to divide our society into armed camps of enmity, all we have to do is keep doing what we're doing. And I would recommend that we don't do this. I've studied authoritarianism for a very long time. I know what happens when things get out of control, and it can happen extraordinarily rapidly. And I would say we're on the cusp of that. And so we need to start talking and listening. And when you talk, it doesn't mean you're right, it doesn't mean you're correct, right? It means you're trying to articulate and formulate your thoughts like the boneheaded moron that you are. And you're going to stumble around idiotically because what the hell do you know? You're full of biases and you're ignorant and you can't speak very well and you're over emotional. And you know, you've got just problems that you can hardly even imagine that are interfering with your ability to state something clear. And so what you do is you do your best to say what you mean, and then you listen to other people tell you why you're a blithering idiot, and hopefully you can correct yourself to some degree as a consequence of listening to them. And you see, that's what free speech is about, because you have to, it isn't just that people can organize themselves and their societies by thinking. You can't do that because there's only one of you. What you have to do is you have to articulate your thoughts in a public forum so that other people can attack you, and hopefully in a corrective manner. And then you want to, you know, step back a little bit and think, okay, well, you know, I was a little arrogant there and I was a little over emotional there and I didn't get that quite right, and maybe I'm outright biased on that front. And you want to correct what you say, because then you correct how you are, and then you correct how you act in life, and then you correct your society. And to the degree that we limit freedom of expression, we put all of that at risk. You know, I'm a clinical psychologist, and one of the things, there's 2 things that we kind of know about why clinical psychology works, and one is that people get stronger if they voluntarily expose themselves to things they're afraid of and that they're disgusted by. It's like it's a hallmark of clinical psychotherapy, and I would say it's also the defining characteristic of appropriate human adaptation, right?
Once again, I'm not saying who's right or who's wrong, but contrast what Professor Jordan Peterson just said with what you're about to hear.
Thank you, Professor Moran, Provost Moran. I'd like to start by saying that I'm delighted to be here today, except that I'm not. And I'd like to start by saying how much I support and respect all those faculty, staff, and students who are boycotting today's event. I think that that is also a very important form of speech.
I think that we're crossing a dangerous line, and the line is the requirement that's being put upon people by government agencies with the full force of the law behind them to decide what language categories you're going to use. Now, I think that's a form of compelled speech, which has a technical meaning. I know in the United States, the American Supreme Court ruled against the government's right to use compelled speech in 1943. I understand that this isn't the United States, but we share a common law background and the doctrines are relevant. For me, you see, when I opened this debate, this forum, I tried to explain what this is about, and I couldn't explain everything that it's about because it's about too many things. But one of the things it's about is ideology and the distinction between the left and the right. And let's say, now, I truly believe that these made-up pronouns, of which there are many, dozens in fact, and there's no consensus on them, and that doesn't even begin to start a discussion about the use of the other kin pronouns, and you can...
Thank you for watching Disturbing Trends videos, and if you like them, please subscribe or click like or comment below. Thank you very much.